In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. On that first page of the book of Genesis, tells us about the 6 days of creation. And then on the seventh day, God rested. And when God rested, you know what God did? God looked over all the creation and said, "It is good." And you know what God said after that, at least in my imagination? The next thing God said was, "I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you." And God said to God's self, "What a wonderful world." And God said, "I see skies of blue and clouds of white, bright, blessed days, dark, sacred nights." And God said to God's self, "What a wonderful world." And God said, "I see the colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky. And I see the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, 'How do you do?' But they're really saying, I love you." And God said to God's self, "What a wonderful world." And God said, "I see babies cry, and I watch them grow. So much for them to learn, so much for them to know." And God said, "What a wonderful world." Those are the words to that song, "What a Wonderful World." And I'm Tim Selby at Heart of Steamboat. Thank you for joining me. We've been in the midst of a song series looking at what some famous, well-known songs might say to us theologically. And I think this song, "What a Wonderful World," really is one of the best songs ever written, ever sung, ever brought to this earth. And I think this song that we know as it's done by Louis Armstrong and that silky, gravelly, beautiful voice of his, I think this song ought to be the starting place of all theology. Because what we hear reflected in this song is the starting place of all creation, the starting place of all the universe, of all the earth, of our faith story and of our human journey. It all begins here. It all begins in beauty, in color, in life. We know how beautiful it is. We know this deep in our bones. We know the goodness of it all. And yet I think we also know that's not the whole of the story, is it? That along the way we found ways to be selfish and greedy. We found ways to create strife and conflict and violence. We know that we hear babies cry when they are born and growing, but we also know we hear babies cry when they're hungry or malnourished. Babies cry when they're abused and abandoned. And I think when we hear babies cry for these reasons, we sense that the world is no longer covered in the fresh dew, that blessed dew from the beginning of creation that dripped from the very fingertips of God at the beginning of time. As followers of Jesus, I think we believe that he came to heal the brokenness of our world, to heal some of the strife in our world, and to rekindle in us, once again, a sense of awe and wonder. The great Rabbi Abraham Heschel, in his theology, says that the beginning, the roots of wisdom are found in awe and wonder and the embrace of the mystery. I love Heschel's work because for him, these are categories of theology: awe and wonder, and a phrase he uses, radical amazement. Radical amazement. Like, not many folks use these categories for theology, but they are so vital, aren't they? A sense of awe, a sense of wonder, and radical amazement at all of creation, at the universe, at the human person, at all of it. It's so amazing. And I think Jesus invites us into the great work of helping with the restoration, the sprinkling of the world once again with the goodness and the grace of God that came from the beginning of time. I think Jesus invites us to be wholehearted, to live wholeheartedly, to mend the wounds of the world, to wipe the tears of our brothers and sisters. God's world is still wonderful, and our job can be to help bring that goodness and wonder to all people. You know, on that seventh day when God rested and saw the goodness of it all, we are invited into that. We call that Sabbath in our faith tradition, to reflect on the goodness, to stop our striving, and to just embrace the awe and wonder of all of it. We're invited into that Sabbath kind of day because that's where we get the juice. That's where we get the energy. That's where that awe and wonder fills us with life energy that we then get to join God with on those other days of bringing the creative energy to bringing life and goodness and creating beauty in our world. We join the Sabbath so we can do the work. It's not just about our enjoying it, but it's about how we lift up our brothers and sisters and how we help all people to have goodness of life and to experience the fullness that they might have. Can you imagine this at the end of the day, if at the end of your life or mine, we realized the world has been a little bit more wonderful for our being here? Wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't that be a life well lived? It's more wonderful because you were here, because I was here. You know, when this song, A Wonderful World, came out, it came out in 1968. It was written in 67, 68, right there. And when it came out, the world was not perfect. We were still in the midst of the Vietnam War, civil rights movement in our country, a civil unrest. And when this song came out, do you know how many copies it sold? It came out and has sold 1,000 copies, like hardly anything. And it sold so few copies because the record companies wouldn't promote it, because there had recently been over 100 riots in our country, and they wouldn't promote this song at that time. So it topped the charts overseas, actually. And then it topped the charts later here in America in 1971 when Louis Armstrong died. Took that moment for this song to catch on here in our country. People wondered, why would you lift up such a song in times of turmoil and hardship? Well, I would say, well, you know what? There's always turmoil. There's always hardship. But the goodness of God and the wonder of it all is always present with us as well. And I think we probably need it even more. We need that life energy even more when times are difficult or times are hard. So Louis Armstrong got some criticism about this song, and he shared a word about it. And I want to read to you what he said. He said this. He said, "Some of you young folks have been saying to me, 'Hey, Pops, what do you mean? What a wonderful world. How about all them wars all over the place? You call them wonderful? How about hunger and pollution? That ain't so wonderful either.' And then he says, 'Well, how about listening to old Pops for a minute? Seems to me it ain't the world that's so bad, but what we're doing to it. And all I'm saying is, see, what a wonderful world it would be if we'd only give it a chance. Love, baby, love. That's the secret. Yeah. If lots more of us loved each other, we'd solve lots more problems. And then the world would be a gas.' That's what old Pops keeps saying." Yeah, so I have a couple links for you there to listen to. One is this version where he says these words and leads right into that song. And the other is a David Attenborough video where David Attenborough just says the words of this song, but has some amazing images of the beautiful, wonderful world that we live in that go along with that. I hope you take a look at those. And I love the way that he ends up here. Says, that's what old Pops keeps saying. And I say, you know what, old Pops, keep saying it, old Pops. Keep saying it, keep singing it, and we'll join you in singing it. We'll sing it with you. We'll sing this song that really God started singing back at the very beginning of the time. And we'll keep singing it in good times and bad. We'll keep singing it through our laughter and through our tears. We'll keep singing it as we want to bring that creative life energy to the world, just like God did in the very beginning. So let us join in that work. Let us join in that great effort to help people know a goodness of life and for all of us to know what a wonderful world this really is. Grace and peace be with you.